This is the bazooka. And this is the Tiger II, also known as the King Tiger. But how to destroy a King Tiger with a bazooka? Well, that's what we're gonna find out today. The bazooka weighs about 7 kilograms and is 1.5 meters long. It can be operated by 1 or 2 people, the firing rate drastically improving when with 2. The bazooka fires 60mm rockets that are armed with shaped charges. The rockets can penetrate from 100 up to 127mm of armor, this depends on the range. The shaped charge or heat warhead produces a concentrated blast down the point of the rocket. This effect is created by the hollow cone in the rocket like you can see on the picture. The bazooka wasn't very inaccurate for a rocket launcher, but the projectile could be brought off course by the wind. It is recommended to fire from a shorter distance, so you are more likely to hit your shot, and you will have more penetration power. But don't go too close, or you might blow yourself up. Now let's dive into the stats of the King Tiger. First off, the armament. The King Tiger is armed with a 88mm KWK-43 anti-tank cannon as main gun. The King Tiger also has 2 MG-34 machine guns that can fire up to 900 rounds a minute, 1 coaxial on the main gun and 1 in the front of the hull. The armor of the King Tiger was very heavy. It also used a technique called sloped armor. When using sloped armor, you angle the plates so you need to penetrate more of the armor. When you angle a plate 60 degrees, the effectiveness of the armor is doubled. The King Tiger has 150mm of armor at the front of the hull at a 50-degree angle, 185 at the front of the turret, 80 at the sides on a 25-degree angle, 80 at the back on a 30-degree angle, and 80 at the sides and back of the turret. The ammunition of the King Tiger is placed at the sides of the hull and at the back of the turret. This makes it quite vulnerable at the sides and at the turret. If the ammunition gets hit, there is a big chance that it detonates and blows the entire tank up. The crew of the King Tiger was placed at 2 locations in the tank, in the front of the hull and in the turret. 3 men were placed in the turret and 2 were placed in the hull. If a projectile manages to penetrate the turret, it's likely that all 3 men in the turret will be put out of action. This makes the tank extremely vulnerable. To prevent this, the Big Cat has an heavy armored turret, but if a projectile doesn't penetrate, it can still stall the armor. The stalling of armor is when a projectile hits the armor but doesn't penetrate, but hits it with enough force to shatter the inner armor and make a lot of sharp pieces of metal fly around in the tank. This can injure or kill the crew, so it's extremely dangerous. The Tiger II was a heavy tank, but this didn't make it incredibly fast. At optimal road conditions, it could reach speeds up to 41 kilometers an hour, but at a combat scenario, the speed could be from 15 to 20 kilometers an hour at max. The underpowered engine suffered from frequent breakdowns, with some crews having to scrap their vehicles. So in a few words, the King Tiger was a strong but unreliable vehicle that had an underpowered engine, but it could still pack a significant punch. Now the deployment. The bazooka was deployed by infantrymen. The amount of bazookas depended on the type and role of the infantry. For example, a ranger platoon had 2 rifle squads without bazookas and a special weapons squad with 2 bazookas and a mortar, but an armored infantry rifle squad had 1 bazooka each. The King Tiger was deployed in heavy tank battalions that featured heavy tank companies. Such a company consisted of 3 platoons, each featuring 4 tanks. These could be Tiger IIs or 1s. Heavy tank companies were often under strength due to mechanical failures and combat casualties. Okay, so now we will move on to the next part. How to destroy a King Tiger with a bazooka. This is my personal opinion on what the best ways are. We will be using 3 situations. Situation 1. A King Tiger supported by a rifle squad is spotted. A dismounted mechanized infantry squad is sent to take it out. Situation 2 is a ranger platoon that is dug in being attacked by a heavy tank company. Situation 3 is a few paratroopers are hidden in a building when they hear a rumbling sound and spot a king tiger coming down the road towards them. So now scenario 1, the mechanist infantry squad goes to the road where the king tiger is spotted. They send forward a scout. After the scout has located the king tiger, he returns with the information, and the squad sets up an ambush. The squad has in its arsenal 1 bazooka, 1 M3 grease gun and 11 M1 Garand, of which 9 can be used at the same time as the bazooka. They set up the ambush at 2 small hills next to the road, one side with half the squad and the bazooka, the other side with half the squad and the grease gun. The bazooka will fire the first shot, after that the rest will start firing. In 10 minutes the king tiger arrives. The rocketeer aims for the side of the turret. They're only 35 meters away. He fires the rocket, it penetrates the turret and takes out the crew in the turret. The rest starts firing. The German rifle squad is quickly taken care of. The bazooka shoots the side of the hull, this time detonating the ammunition stored there. The turret blows up and lands 5 meters next to the tank. In my opinion, you should always try to ambush a king tiger because there is no way that you frontally penetrate it with an American bazooka. Aiming for the turret has more risks because you can miss, but when you're close it's easier to hit the turret. Now scenario 2, the Ranger platoon is dug in eating their meals when they hear radio calls, armor coming their way. The Ranger platoon has 2 bazookas in its inventory and 1 mortar. The soldiers know that small arms fire will not do anything against armor, but they know too that infantry will follow close behind. When the tanks arrive, the Rangers look at what kind of tanks they're facing, a mix of Tiger 2s and 1s. They decide to hide until the tanks drove past them, then the bazookas shoot at the weak back of the tanks. One of the bazookas fires first. He penetrates the back of the tank and sets the fuel on fire, forcing the crew to abandon it. After 2 tanks have been taken out, the tanks start turning. Both bazookas can get shots at the flank now. They take out 2 more tanks and then relocate. They shoot at the tracks when they can't hit its flanks so that the mortar can take them out. In my opinion, you can best let the tanks pass you when you can't frontally penetrate them so you can hit them from the flanks and rear, again my opinion. Scenario 3, the 4 paratroopers are hiding in a building. They have 4 M1 Garands and a bazooka with 3 rockets. One of the soldiers is an officer. They try to keep themselves as silent as possible whilst they rest. In the late evening they hear a rumbling sound. When they look, it's a king tiger coming towards them. They can't use the bazooka in a small spaces, they need to get on the roof. They walk up the stairs onto the roof. When they arrive there, the king tiger is nearly at their building. They load the bazooka, but wait to fire. The officer tells the men to fire when the king tiger is right below them so they can hit the weak top armor. When the king tiger is right below them, he gives a sign. The bazooka easily penetrates the weak top of the king tiger, disabling most of the crew, but the driver survives. The tank retreats. The officer gives the order to spare their rockets, they will need them another time. In my opinion, you can best in an urban environment attack the top of a king tiger. It has weak armor and in the back of the turret is ammunition stored. Only my opinion once again. Recap: the Tiger II is a strong tank, but the bazooka is a good anti-tank weapon. The bazooka can't destroy a Tiger II from the front, but it can at the weak sides, back and top. To get a shot on those weak spots, you should ambush the Tiger II. This is my opinion on how to destroy a king tiger with a bazooka. Thanks for watching.